Hi people, this is in fact my second video today and it's not even 9 a.m. So there you go. So this is about how can the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting help. This is me at the beach with my two little baby girls. So one has their eye closed. She's not very happy about that picture, but anyway. How can the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting help? Keto used as a framework for low carb eating. Now some people have a big issue with low carb eating, so I'm going to deal with that. Eat real food. So this is really the key point. Like, it's not so much avoiding refined carbs as eating real food. And there is a massive difference in how your body internally will handle the real food as opposed to the refined carbs. Something has been done to those foodstuffs that is too much processing in terms of what it does to the inside of your body. And this is what has become a fascination to me, apart from the obvious external effects of losing a lot of weight. I was 213 pounds at my heaviest. I am now 180, so I'm actually I'm overweight. I think some of them would call me overfat. But that's from Christmas, and also I was working before Christmas in a very sedentary job for about 6 months. I was doing a contract, and in that there was a lot of traveling, a lot of staying in hotels, staying with other people in the same job, and we were doing a lot of drinking and eating carbohydrates. So we were bold girls, but we enjoyed every moment of it, I can tell you that. So I had gone from 156, so 154 is apparently my ideal weight. I'm quite Neanderthal in my bone density. I have big bones. You can see by my hands. Look at those. Look at those. They're not any old hands. So I am 154. I'm 5'5.5". I never made it to 5'6". Oh, so sad. But I'm 5'5.5", and I've seen people who are my height. Their ideal weight is 120, 130. Like I don't think I've ever reached. I think I might have reached 120 when I was anorexic in college. That was about it. But apparently my ideal weight, based on my bone density and all this, I got this scan done, is 154. Now that's kind of without any body fat. So I feel at my best. I've been down to 156 now. I have been to 154 and below, like I said, back in my college days and stuff like that, when I would have been starving. You know, we all went through that phase. Every girl does it. Almost every girl goes through the stage of starving themselves at some point, you know, for some reason. No big psychological damage, just something. And it feels good. I will say that. I do agree with Kate Moss about that. Kate Moss was a famous supermodel in the 90s, and she said that nothing feels as good as skinny. And that is, I might be misquoting her a little bit, but something around that. That is so true. The best times that I felt my sharpest and most amazing was when I was skinny. So I did get down to 156 before last June. I had gotten down to it a few times. The best weight that I remember feeling the best at is 162. So about 6, 7, 8 pounds overweight. Now, Dr. Lustig, he wrote Metabolical. He said the body wants to carry a little bit of fat for survival. So it wants to carry around 20 pounds, up to 20 pounds. The body is happy in and out of 20 pounds. So up 20 pounds, down 20 pounds, blah, blah, blah. So it wants to carry, it's always trying to carry some little bit of fat to help you survive and for insulation and all the rest of it. Definitely didn't help with insulation. When I was 213, I was always cold. And I think a lot of that had to do with thyroid issues, hypothyroidism, because I was not taking iodine. Like now I take iodine. What a change in body temperature for me. I take iodine supplement drops, and I never feel cold now. It's wonderful. How did I not know? But that's the great thing about being on my keto journey, is I've learned lots of other things. Now I would be kind of into supplements, but not really. Like in a kind of a theoretical way, I was into supplements, but I wasn't taking them. And I realize now that a lot of my issues, probably over the years, I had IBS when I was younger. I've had everything, apart from some of the very severe ones. But I would say I was just chronically just operating at 20%, I would have said. Not chronically ill, but chronically operating. And now when I look back, like the sludge that was in my body. Even my low blood pressure was probably down to having very sludgy blood from eating too many refined carbs. My whole existence, I was vegetarian for several years, but my whole existence was based on a grain-fed diet of pasta, of, you know, stuff. It was really refined carbs. And I think I was probably like a lot of people, but maybe not. Maybe some people were amazing. But when I was younger and I was at home with my mother, was a great cook. We ate very good food. But it was when I was about 15 and I went away to work in a hotel, and I stayed in the hotel, which was very dodgy for a 15-year-old. Wouldn't be allowed nowadays, but I had great crack, and I wasn't drinking or anything. It was just great fun. I was washing dishes, and like, you worked very long hours. I never even noticed. Probably because I'd grown up on a farm, and you do those kind of hours anyway. But it was great fun. But I started probably, once I was in control of my own diet and I had my own money, I ate a lot more sweeties, a lot more refined carbs. I thought that was a much better diet than what my mother was feeding me. My mother was feeding me beef from our farm, you know, potatoes grown across the gate, carrots grown, like almost nothing that my mother bought. It was literally, we did have white bread, but we rarely ate it. My mother made beautiful brown bread. She still does. And this is what we ate. So it was really good food. So it was really only when I was in charge of my own diet, which was around the age of 15, I thought I was way more advanced and that I was right and that she was completely in the wrong. Why was she giving me that shit? Because I was mad for sugar, mad for carbs, mad for cornflakes in the morning, whereas we didn't have that when I was growing up. So it was... so I've been full circle. So I can speak from the mountaintops, and I had that sludge inside my system that I didn't realize. Unfortunately, I didn't take any blood tests before I started keto. That's the one thing I didn't realize that I should do, and I wish I had. And the 3 blood tests I've taken are post start to keto. Incredible blood tests, improving all the time. My inflammation is down to 0, and all the rest. Sorry, I keep rubbing my eyebrows because the kids keep giving out. I plucked my eyebrows when I was about 12, and they never grew back because I slammed the car door and it hit one of the bottom of my eyebrows, and there was a massive. It was literally, the scar was along there, so I literally, one of my eyebrows had a gap in it, so I plucked the other one. So they never grew back. So this is the way they are, and I refuse to do anything with them. So they can all feck off, as they say on Father Ted. If you haven't seen Father Ted, I'm Irish. If you haven't seen Father Ted, you have to watch it. It's very, very funny. I think you can get it on some of the channels, or you can get it on RT Play or something. It's very funny. Father Ted, brilliant, brilliant Irish sitcom, or whatever you want to call it. So anyway. So keto is used as a low carb diet, and what low carb means in this instance is get the refined carbs out of your, it basically, I do eat carbs, but they're in the form of Brussels sprouts, broccoli, lettuce, that kind of stuff. Other than that, no carbs if I'm on weight loss or if I'm on a strict ketogenic diet, which I am at the moment. But over Christmas, I had every refined carb that was ever known to man, and alcohol, and I loved every minute of it, which is why I'm 180 today, exactly 180. I was 183.9 when I started back on keto about 5 days ago maybe. So I have lost a little bit of weight. A lot of that will be water weight. And then you come to a little bit of a plateau. Like, the first time you go on keto, you could lose weight very fast. But then later on, when you say go back on carbs again, your body gets cleverer. It doesn't like you losing all that weight too fast. So it gets a bit harder to lose the weight when you've been on keto a while and you're cycling in and out of it. So, but I don't mind. All I care about, apart from looking reasonably well, but what I care about is what I feel like on the inside. You want to have the sludge and the shite and the rubbish on the inside that's going to affect you in 10 years' time, going to cause dementia, going to cause cancer, whatever. So I'm wanting to mitigate that so that I don't have to deal with that later on. And I feel very, flexible. You feel great. You can go vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, or omnivore. It doesn't really matter. Now, vegan, I would say, is probably the worst diet, but you can operate very well as a vegan if you're very careful about the protein, your protein intake and fat intake and all the rest. But overall, I would say omnivore is the best. Carnivore is if you have some really bad gut issues, I would definitely go carnivore for a short time if you have some kind of chronic illness, because it will really clean out your system. And and a steak is what you should eat. Get some steaks. I buy the 4-pack of strip loin steaks. I cook them with garlic butter, which I make myself, and I do put parsley into it for the polyphenols. And sorry, there's someone walking down the road, so I'm watching them. And have that. Like, I have had 4 steaks for my dinner a couple of days this week, and it's literally just 4 steaks. Now, I don't chomp the fat. Some people do. I eat some of the fat, but not too much. Intermittent fasting. If I was to tell you to do one thing in 2025, it would be to introduce fasting. However, you cannot fast if you're eating refined carbs. It's impossible. It's impossible, because carbs are addictive. Addictive. I know in America everybody uses the word addicting, which irritates me, because in Ireland we use addictive. But anyway, I'll use addicting and addictive. The carbs, it's very hard to fast. If you eat refined carbs, it's very hard to fast, because within 2 hours, you want more refined carbs. And that's okay. It's a natural body response. Your body wants you to eat more carbs because it wants you to survive. It thinks you're out in the wild and having found an apple. And it wants you to eat all the apples, so that when you're going along for the next 2 months and you don't have any food, your body will eat the fat that was stored from the apples. Carbohydrates will spike your blood sugar. A big spike in your blood sugar will have insulin released. There is no fat storage without insulin. This is why I'm on a low carb diet, because there is no fat storage without insulin being released. And on my diet for the next 2 months, there will be almost no insulin released, and my blood sugar will amazingly stay stable, because every time it starts to drop, my body will release fat from my fat cells. It will go back into the liver. It will process it back into blood glucose, which is different from the ingested glucose, and it will go circulate around, and I'll have ketones and blood glucose provided efficiently from the existing fat, which I have plenty. I'm at 180. I should be at 154, so what's that? 26 pounds of fat that is available for my brain and my body and my organs. Stop eating all the time. So give your body a break. So this is why I do intermittent fasting, and sometimes I do fasting for a couple of days. But intermittent fasting will give your body a break, and you should really be doing a minimum of 16 hours of fasting, including sleep time, and 8 hours of your eating window, where you should only be eating 2 to 3 meals. That doesn't mean you eat for the whole 8 hours, although I do that sometimes. And then, but the best one that suits me the best is 24. So I eat a larger meal and a smaller meal in the 4 hours of eating and the 20 hours. But I do have coffee with cream. There's an empty cup there. Cream does not spike your insulin. That's why I have coffee with cream. And I'm a bit addicted to coffee. Like, you have to have a flaw. I have a flaw. That's my flaw. In my experience, it's much easier to fast while on low carb. So guys, get yourself together for 2025. Get the carbs out, refined carbs out of your system. Even if it's just for a couple of months. I'm going to be eating carbs again in March. No problem. I have a wedding, or in April. I have a wedding in early April. I'll be eating lots of carbs. I'll be drinking some alcohol. I'll be having a good time. But for now, I'm going to stay fit and healthy and try and lose some of this fat. And it'll turn into ketones and blood glucose. Why do I not die? My blood glucose will not drop. I have tested it on my CGM, continuous glucose monitor. I'm not diabetic, but I got one out of interest. And it showed me that when my blood glucose starts dropping and I'm not eating, it will, within 5 minutes, it'll stabilize. And it seems to stay with me around 4.8. That seems to be, if I'm not eating and have plenty fat. Now, if you're very, very skinny, you won't have plenty fat. So you can't do weight loss or ketogenic diet, but you can do a ketogenic diet, but you won't be doing the weight loss one. So my blood sugar stays absolutely stable for those times. Trust the process. See you soon. Bye. It is so nice here today.